I know it's
Mafic.
redundant, but we're gonna do it because I
Mafic.
I want you guys to think about it. Okay, so
Mafic.
Mafic, intrusive, extrusive.
Extrusive.
Basalt.
Basalt.
Cool.
Are most mafic rocks extrusive?
This one's basalt.
We're about to do the intrusive one.
Okay.
So, yeah, intrusive, Mafic. So, do you guys remember what it's called?
Gabbro.
Gabbro.
Cool. These are all messed
Because they
up
have
now.
big crystals, that's why
Yeah.
it's intrusive.
Exactly.
Okay.
How would you ID it as igneous in the first place if all the three types are mixed up?
So you weren't here at the beginning, were you?
Oh,
So
okay.
each of these questions is gonna have like one or two follow-up questions, and it should be able to prompt you as to
okay.
which one it is. Also, like you don't get big crystals like this in metamorphic or sedimentary rocks that often. Like you can kind of with an amphibolite, but most of the time metamorphic they look deformed kind of, and sedimentary they don't like look magmatic
Yeah.
really at all.
Okay.
Cool.
So let's
So yeah.
ask for the rock name and then two follow-up questions.
I mean, like not exactly two,
Okay.
or like sometimes none. But I think most of the time the question will do a decent job of letting you know what's going on or what we're trying to get at.
Okay.
So you wouldn't say there's that many where they're just like name a characteristic. A lot of it's just follow-up questions relating to the rock.
So like the minerals, I think, is more of the characteristic thing, and then the rocks are like. I mean, it's a little bit all over the place, but I think they're more like just questions that you would answer in the lab, kind of. You know.
Is this
Yeah, we'll go through it. So intermediate, yeah,
intermediate?
and then this one's kind of hard because those are some big.
Can we just say that's
phenocrysts.
intermediate because it's gray?
Well, it's intermediate because of the percentage of crystals that are going on here. So we have like, but for the purposes of this, you can say that's fine for gray. But like, yeah, I mean, like honestly, you guys aren't gonna go look at this and be like, 50% quartz, 40% hornblende. Like, you know, but yeah, that's kind of the thought process. So I'm like, we're cheating a little bit by saying color, but just so know in your back pocket, like it's really the kind of relative amount of each of these minerals that makes it. Okay, extrusive, intermediate,
Gyro.
andesite. Yeah, that's a hard one, I think, because you don't really think about it. These are all really mixed up. Okay, this one we did together like a second ago, but granite. And this is a hard, this is like a pegmatite. So we have, yes, intrusive, there's muscovite, quartz, hydroclase. Yeah.
Does pegmatite need abnormally large crystals? Or
Yeah, like this is one
like
crystal.
For the rock or like just in general? Like
It's like a certain cutoff. It's like a couple of centimeters or something. You don't have to tell me it's a pegmatite. I'm just telling you that this like doesn't look like your countertop. That's what I'm saying. But some granites will look exactly like your countertop. You know, extrusive, right? Mafic, flag, so basalt. Cool. These are both basalt. Remember, it doesn't matter. You don't have to tell me it's scoria or not. So yeah, basically just black, boring ass. igneous rocks.
Like crystals.
No,
you
can't see any. Okay, this guy.
Felsic.
Rhyolite.
Intrusive.
Extrusive.
Extrusive. I'm just making you guys do it so you get in the habit. Okay. This is also andesite.
One's rhyolite.
Wait, what was that one? The pink one?
That's andesite.
Probably.
This was Rhyolite.
This one's right.
Is that? This is intrusive. No?
Extrusive. The crystals are kind of small.
This one is kind of both. Yeah, it did the whole slow cooling and then fast cooling thing. I would that's fine. We already did it. It's the same.
That's also.
Yeah, you guys won't get a sample like
Is
this
that
with a
that?
bunch of crystals. I wouldn't let you guys
It
get that confused.
whether it's intrusive. or
Yeah,
extrusive.
exactly.
Like that's definitely intrusive.
Exactly. And then intermediate,
Intermediate.
right?
Intermediate
Black and
diorite.
white.
Diorite.
All right, we just ID'd every igneous rock.
So
Let's go.
if it was felsic, it would be more like reddish, like granite.
Yep. It like imagine all of the white just being pink.
Oh, okay.
Good. Yeah.
Did we already get that?
Yeah.
Okay, Gabbro.
But it's a little bit tough. If we give you guys Gabbro, but like, it would be pretty big, obvious crystals. Or the question would say something like this intrusive rock, blah, blah, whatever. Okay, cool. I think we're good on sedimentary. I don't think they're too hard.
Yep.
Just drop acid on it, doesn't fizz, then you just look at the grain size. So sandstone, siltstone, etc.
Which is the one that fizzes?
Limestone.
Limestone.
If you see any fossils in your rock, so you see how this is like a big shell?
Oh,
So that's like limestone is always usually the one that holds fossils for sedimentary rocks. And that's kind of why it fizzes.
Is that bioclastic?
It is bioclastic, yeah. So that's like little critters and stuff, their shells are made out of this. And that's what they get consolidated into.
That's calcite, right?
Mm-hmm. It is calcite. Okay, we'll do the metamorphic guys now. So somebody nicely put them in order already, but low foliation, high foliation, low metamorphic grade, high metamorphic grade. Right? So blackboard material, slate, yeah. One up is kind of hard, but
Twilight.
so I call it phyllite, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, this one, it's sparkles, right? So it's got schistosity, that's a texture thing. So then schist,
Wait, what does schistosity mean?
just like this glittery stuff.
But nice also glitters.
Yeah, just not in the same like kind
As
of
the
gold
foliation is
way.
made.
And like for nice, you're really looking for these bands. And I will go ahead and tell you that the nice on the test, cough, is really nicely banded. Like that's pretty obvious, I think. Picked it out myself.
So would you say schist is more glittery? That's kind of funny.
It's schistosity is the term, but yeah, glittery is fine.
It's more glittery than nice.
It's just not. It's like it's not as banded. It's not as foliated as nice as. It's like on its way to getting there.
That's the most important.
Yeah.
So, like on the test, would a test? Okay. Would a question be like put them in order from?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, putting them in order, and then our two non-foliated guys. So
Quartzite
yeah,
and marble.
yeah, this one fizzes
Those
fast.
fizzes, yeah.
This one doesn't.
What was the one that fizzes fast? Sorry.
Marble.
Marble. Got it.
Yeah, have that just like committed. Like if you're gonna memorize anything, memorize that calcite, limestone, marble, all fizz with acid. I think it'll really go far. As you guys have.
So this is marble, no?
Yes,
And what's this?
quartzite.
Quartzite.
So those are the only two non-foliated. So these are foliated. They're all like banded and kind of in layers and stuff. These two are just like they're made up of one mineral basically. So
And quartz goes to what? And then it goes to metamorphic.
so any siliclastic rock. So siltstone, sandstone, shale. So the clastic guys. You remember in the lab when you had to put like clastic or non-clastic? All of the clastic ones are pretty much just quartz. Sometimes they have some case barred or whatever, but so like if you were gonna plot like the life of a mineral, you could be like quartz becomes arbitrarily sandstone or siltstone or whatever, but so sandstone and then gets smushed and then becomes quartzite. Or we have calcite, turns into limestone, which turns into marble. And then these guys start life as a mud rock, usually shale. Yeah. A nice. I mean, you can get some nices from granites and stuff, but I think it's.
What makes a rock non-plastic?
So non-clastic is if it's made of like living things, so like or once living things, I guess. So like coal, or coquina is like a bunch of shale and stuff. Limestone or not shale, shells, and limestone is same thing. Yeah, made up of like dead microbes and whatever else, shells and other things.
Are those the only plastic rocks in that tray?
Are those the only what?
Non-clastic rocks?
Chert's non-clastic. Chalk, I don't think is clastic.
Non-clastic is synonymous with bioplastic.
No, because there's like inorganic too, but you guys didn't get a single inorganic
It's like incomplete.
evaporate
Non-classic
rock.
So you don't need to know bioplastic or no?
You do need to know bioplastic for sure. Yeah, but you don't need to know.
Silicon.
Oh,
What's that?
Silence.
Yeah, chalk is just like the really
Yeah.
finely
Oh,
compressed
Still
limestone.
plastic is just if it's like rocks that are beat up and
Is
doesn't have to be
non-foliated
something.
correspondent with contact metamorphism, whereas foliated is with regional?
No, this depends on like the starting material. So like how foliated it is kind of a function of how many minerals were in the original rock, right? So all of our bands and stuff are layers of different minerals that got recrystallized, and then they kind of sort out based on density and crystal structure and all that stuff. And that's because we have a ton of different weird stuff in mud rocks, like clays, right? And aluminum, silicon, all sorts of stuff. But if we have like a quartz sandstone, it's mostly quartz, and then it gets heated up. But the quartz is just like still quartz, so it just gets kind of put back together in a weird way. And that's it. Doesn't have any. There's no like compositional like differences for it to separate out and get foliated.
So I have a question about that.
Yeah.
So in the lab, I thought it said, didn't it say someone with contact in?
That's what I thought. That's where I got that.
It said like.
Yeah,
affiliation
I think.
related.
Yeah, I don't.
Just kinda confused.
I mean, I'm sure that's like sort of right, but I think technically you can kind of get these at both regional and contact on it, like in real life.
So that
But
wouldn't
if-
be a good, that wouldn't be a good answer if you said, why is this more foliated or?
Yeah,
why-
if you're trying to, more foliated is different than not foliated at all.
Or
So
why
like,
is this foliated versus not foliated?
Yeah.
You couldn't say regional and contact.
no, well, so okay, so foliated versus non-foliated, that's like original minerals in the OG rock before it got metamorphosed. The gradient of foliation, that is dependent on like A, how long, and B, like where it's being kind of smushed around. So then you can talk about regional versus contact kind of stuff.
So you're saying foliation itself is based off of the materials it's made up of?
Yeah, but then like once it is foliated, how much it's foliated is a function of kind of where.
This one
the
is
metamorphic species thing.
Yeah.
Oh, the facies, yeah, or facies. Still don't know how to say it. I'm in grad school, so don't worry about that. You guys got one obnoxiously hard metamorphic rock for that, but that's basically what happens when you have basalt metamorphosing instead of like a clay or something. So then we get like blue schist, green schist, eclogite, all those weird ones.
But we don't really have to know those.
No, you didn't see them, so like it would be stupid to test you on it.
How come in this series, like, they seem to be, like, flat and, like, kind of foliated, but then all of a sudden it gets all, like, weird and, like...
It's just you have a lot. Well, also like these aren't like genetically related rocks, you know. Like not all schist looks like this, but you can see like the foliations happening here. And there's also something called retrograde metamorphism, which is what happened to this guy. So after he metamorphosed the first, like if you kind of follow, you don't need to know this, but you asked, so it kind of like this is kind of what happened to it.
Okay.
So like it's weird. This isn't important. Don't worry about it. It's not, I'm just explaining why this just looks weird. Okay.
So schist could be, like, flat and...
It's a little bit more. It's usually like more
More
wrinkled,
bulky
and
and-
you just gotta look for the shiny.
Okay.
Yeah. If you find, if you just see like a bunch of wrinkles and stuff, you're good.
So,
Sure.
Are these just like giant mineral
Those are
formations?
those like used to be garnets, and then they got
Yeah,
yeah.
broken off.
Yeah.
But that's not the schistosity. The schistosity is like a little.
Just also, yeah, just like hold it under light and see where it glitters.
Wait, what are these two?
Oh, that's amphiboliite. These are the
Okay.
same.
Oh, I hope.
They're the same?
Yeah.
How do you tell the difference between this and Gabbro?
So that's why we're not testing you.
Oh, okay, cool.
On what?
They're just asking, how do you tell the difference between amphiboliite and gabbro? And I was saying that we're not going to do amphiboliite probably, so just don't worry about it for now. Okay, mineral ID. So I think this one might be a little bit harder, but I think that you'll be happy with the minerals that you have taken.
Muscovite.
I think the hardest part is just keeping these straight, honestly. So plage versus potassium or orthoclaves, whatever you want to call it. Whatever works for you. If you have like a little mnemonic device or honestly, whatever, it doesn't matter. So just also remember that like for whatever, like color, like, for our purposes, is kind of a good indicator. Like it's a decent strategy, but just don't. If you have to tell me why like how you distinguish between them, like you can't say color because it's just like not always reliable. But if you just one thing to remember about the feldspars, just like a random thing, is just that they have two cleavage planes. These are at 90. These are a little bit off 90, like 87 and 92 or something. Oh, you could say off 90. That's fine.
So potassium is at 90.
Yep. Just plagioclase and not 90.
Potassium and orthoclase was
Yes.
So plagioclase
just
is almost 90 and orthoclase is 90.
Exactly. Annoying. They also, plagioclase has striations, which are hard to see without a little hand lens or something. But oh, I actually might have hand lens.
Do you think plagioclase and orthoclase are the same thing?
Okay,
Okay,
potassium.
potassium and plagioclase.
Okay, so potassium and orthoclase.
Okay, thank you.
Which is annoying because they don't
This
start
is
with the same
orthoclase.
letters. You would want potassium.
Yeah, you're right.
They don't.
I'll remember
So
it
it's
that
not
way.
good. Yeah.
Is this horns?
Like I can't just like look at it.
It's
It is
potassium,
It's
feldspar,
like splinter.
But we don't have to worry about
and
it.
the
You
other
don't
one's
have to worry about
plagioclase.
hornblende and not.
Oh, plagio is white.
Okay,
Yes.
Are
so
these, does this go
And-
with those or no?
The potassium one is
No.
the pink one.
So those are,
these are cool, but
And
yeah,
it's
they're
at
the
90.
Okay, so plage orthoclase, just know that it's got a bunch of annoying names. It's stupid. Honestly, for you guys, if you just remember that the
Less than
pink
90, I
one
think.
is K-spar, you will probably ID it correctly.
can we call it orthoclase?
Yes, orthoclase, potassium feldspar, K-spar, whatever, does not matter.
But then when we write how we ID'd it, we talk about the planes.
Yeah, talk about planes. Yeah, because like,
Yeah. It's
uh,
hard to see.
well, theoretically, like we could give you some K-spar that's this color.
Oh,
Or pretty close to it. Yeah. We could do that to you guys, which would be very mean. And what happened to me in my mineral ID test in undergrad, it sucked. But so yeah, like I'll go ahead and tell you right now, like we're not gonna try to trick you like that, because it's stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was like in the mineralogy class, not one. So yeah, plagioclase, orthoclase. So know those. Do you guys remember this dude? Biotype mica. Yeah. So what are some properties you guys remember? So it's one cleavage plane. Yep. And then it's,
black.
It's,
you could say black. It's pretty damn soft.
can we say it's brittle?
I mean, since they're all crystalline solids, most.
Wait, isn't muscovite also kind of soft? Muscovite.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you can put color on there too, but I would just give like a hardness.
Okay.
So like if your fingernail can scratch it, do you remember what that is?
Less than 2.
Yeah. Your fingernail's like 2.25 or something stupid like that. But yeah, just if you scratch your fingernail, it's
Do we need to know that number?
So you can't scratch muscovite?
yeah. Yeah, you should. Well, you should know like all your tools basically. So like your
So
fingernail,
So you can't
your
scratch this,
regular nail,
right, with your fingernail? No?
you can't try it.
Well,
I don't care about these minerals. Yeah.
will we get like a nail and like a penny? And,
Yeah, you'll have all of that stuff.
but we have to memorize the hardness chart.
Well, you need to know like the hardness
Yeah.
of the penny
Yeah.
to use it, right?
Okay.
But you don't have to know like the specifics. You can say it's less than this or greater than this.
No. You kind of got to give me a number.
You can't just say less than 10 every time.
Right. that's the point. So like, but I think if you know like your fingernail and like the streak plate, and then either the penny or the nail in between, that's just 3 numbers, and then you can give me, if it's within there, you should be fine.
So you just remember like 3 of them.
So yeah, so your fingernails 2,
No,
penny
that's
is like
the
3.5,
white
I think. Nails
It's like the
5.
same thing.
It's all in your. I would
So
use
should we
your.
remember all those, you think?
I would just use like you're gonna have to use a couple of tools. So I think the streak plate, your nail, and then a metal nail or a penny, something in between. Because then you can get at pretty much any number. I think.
So for the Mikos, are we allowed to use color as?
I think just say like cleavage plane, color, and then also I would probably say, if you can, just say less than 2 hardness. I think that's a little bit better.
It's not really valid.
Right, for biotite muscovite, I think it's a little bit easier. Yeah.
So they're both less than 2 hardness? They're both can scratch?
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, okay. So the distinguishing factor is the color.
it is for these for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
because you can't. Yeah, you don't get like black muscovite.
So muscovite's just like lighter in color.
Yeah, it's like these gold see-through ones. Kind of. If you actually rip off a sheet of biotite, it's actually kind of good. But they're brown actually. Like if you get like an individual one.
Gypsum.
See.
Oh, gypsum's like powdery. It's like
So
really
it's still got
soft.
kind
It's
of
just really
gold
soft.
undertones.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like this is lighter, right? So it's gypsum. No.
No. Alright. No, it's okay. This one, the main thing is that fibers. Yeah, fibers texture. So that's how we ID gypsum usually.
Okay.
You see like all of these little weird deals in there.
I see that.
Since that's like its main characteristic is fibrous, is it okay if that's like all we say and how we ID'd it?
It's also
You just-
soft, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can just say something else, man. Just say like
Okay.
it's
Just like scratch or something.
translucent.
What do you mean by fibers? Can you explain that? Just like the little
Yeah.
lines?
Yes.
Did you say that it doesn't fizz?
Yeah. No, you can't say that. Like, it's not a bird. Also, It's just that
All
much.
the time, it's gonna have these like.
It's not gonna always look like that. No.
So you would say the fibers and then
So it's got a fibrous like texture, and then you could say it's like translucent or something, or you can give me a hardness, which is probably better for gypsum since it's actually like on that scale. I think it's 2 or 3.
So
2 or
this
3
is
characteristics you have to say.
No, it's 2 or 3 like on the hardness scale.
Oh,
So this thing right here is a conchoidal factor. That's how we're expected IDs work.
No, scratch the shit out of it.
Because it's a okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, well, yeah. This will not. There's nothing in the lab that will break this.
Remember?
This isn't all.
So what's the hardness of that?
Credit.
7.
What's this one?
There's 7.
Yeah.
Is that
You remember?
Diamond is
serpentine?
on
Yep,
there.
serpentine.
So if we're
Is it
deciding
serpentine or
You can scratch that.
serpentine?
In the lab, no,
Okay.
no. The porcelain plate's like 6.5.
Yeah.
It's pretty
As
close.
long as you have the
But,
serpent, you'll like. be
it's-
right.
Because like sometimes I feel like with minerals and some of the rocks, it said
Wait, which one was that one?
the minerals.
Oh, this one's
like,
pretty tight.
They said, oh, your fingernail
Yeah,
can't do
pretty
it.
tight.
And then your fingernail.
My friend was like, oh, I can do it. And then, so like, how do you know?
Your friend's
Like if
got
you just have a,
steel
you know,
fingers.
No, well, it's like the material, right? So I mean, like, there's probably like little tiny differences in like your fingernail versus someone else's fingernail. Also, each of these minerals has different impurities and stuff in it too. But I think you should be able to get. There's also like 8 samples. Like, there's going to be like a bunch of samples per like part for that question.
yeah, so you could.
So you can just like be like, screw this. I'm gonna go up and grab a different one if you want.
Oh, nice.
But most of the tests should be pretty diagnostic. I think a lot of times what happens with that is like people like are like putting like a lot of pressure, like force, and they're like almost like manufacturing it instead of just seeing like which material is harder, just by like a regular level. Yeah, you still got to put like some pressure. I agree that hardness is kind of dumb, but I think if you have the clear ones, no other like if you took another mineral and tried to scratch it, like none of them, they'll just break off, and so it'll look like that's another thing that happens sometimes. Is that like sometimes it's like the nail almost breaking off on the mineral because it's softer than the mineral, and so sometimes people think that that's what's happening. Does that make sense? Yeah, I agree though. Like a lot of these techniques, like no one uses. Like they're like back pocket tricks for like a field geologist, but like no one does.
This is also calcium?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't have any like acid in here. It's too nice in the room, but yeah, that one's calcite. Do you know how I know?
Because it has the 3 cleavage.
Also, the cleavage planes are like in a rhombus.
Yeah, they're 3 like at 60-ish, or you can say I think 3 at 120. It probably doesn't matter.
So it's 1,
How is it a square?
3.
Yeah, like a cube. So like, oh god, this is gonna be a brutal drawing.
That wasn't brutal.
That looks good.
Thanks, guys. So it's gonna get brutal. Okay, so 1 cleavage plane. And then, yep, we're not gonna draw 2 more, but yeah, we got one there, and then there's like 1 up and down, kind of. I don't know. I'm not gonna do it. There's a better drawing in your labs.
And that was at 120.
I think.
Is this 60?
I think you can say either, but I usually say 60. I'm gonna double check.
Can you tell me the difference between galena and pyrite? Or do we not have to do pyrite?
Well, they're different colors.
I thought they're both silver.
That helps, right? So pyrite's like the fool's gold thing.
yeah.
So also galena, if you grab it, should be much heavier.
Okay.
That's the one that the specific gravity is actually very diagnostic.
What's the name of it?
Galena,
This one's
yeah.
fool's gold?
So did you say high specific gravity?
Exactly. Yeah.
This one's fool's gold?
Yeah, it looks like pyrite to me.
And which, who is galena? This one.
Because it,
Can we not say density for that? Do we have to use specific gravity?
Density's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Specific gravity is a little bit more correct.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's so heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like lead and sulfur.
What would we say about this? What would we say about
So that one doesn't have cleavage, right? Do you see how it's like all like that's this is
no
no
specific
specific
plane?
plane, but like
This,
yeah,
like,
that's from somebody
misleading?
cutting it out. Yeah.
So no cleavage?
There's no cleavage, and then you can do a streak. Probably is a good test for that one. That's also another really easy diagnostic property. Just see if it leaves a streak, and then if it does leave a streak, then just put the color down,
Oh, okay. Wow.
or you say no streak.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah, which tells you the hardness too.
Yeah.
So we can, are we just, you think max will have to identify 2 characteristics?
Yeah, I think 2 probably, and then yeah, I like there's only like there's other parts of the test where you ID minerals, but they're not like that's not like the purpose of that part. Does that make sense?
It's like to say which one goes with which.
Yeah, sure.
So
Something
like olivine with prototype.
Exactly. So, but like, there's only like a couple of questions up front that are like, ID this mineral, tell me how you ID'd it, basically.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
pyrite,
this, I understand it's very good.
for pyrite, could you say like metallic luster?
I mean, metallic luster is good, yeah. Yeah, like there's literally, you can pull out a lot of stuff from your bud and just throw it on there for minerals. Like metallic luster, vitreous, whatever, like
This
streak.
is calcite, right?
Yeah.
You can say it's salty, right? Isn't that a thing?
No.
Oh.
Salt is salty.
highlights, right?
Yeah. This is salt. Also.
But we shouldn't taste it.
There's so much hydrochloric acid that's been dropped on this that I would not do this one.
This is.
This one looks like
Halide.
This is how.
This is how it.
Maybe gypsum.
Hey,
But the
this is calcium.
I think it's salt.
Just put it in your
Oh,
water.
just salt.
like
Taste it.
Should I do it?
I would
It's salt.
like just table salt.
Yeah, they're the same thing.
Not like halite.
Halite and table salt are the same thing.
This is
It
calcium.
looks
This
like
is
a rum to
rhombus.
me.
It's rhombus, but it looks like halide.
Yeah, I would just drop acid on it. I mean, it's a surefire way of knowing, right? That's the best way to tell, honestly, between those clear guys. And so then once you rule out calcite, or decide that it is calcite, your job's done. And then if you rule it out, then you have 3 options left. One of which is much harder than the other 2. And that one kind of looks different to me. And it should grow kind of in a weird way compared to the other 2. They're not like as cute. Gypsum?
Yeah. So the 3
That's
options
fibrous one?
would be halite, gypsum,
Salt.
Quartz.
quartz.
Okay.
Quartz just looks cool.
Yeah, but it's not always like that. But I think it'd be. I'm pretty sure you guys have a decent sample. I think we have enough good ones left that if we put that much it would be fine.
So for the rocks themselves, do we have to know all of the minerals it's made up of?
So I think that's where the test will kind of prompt you. So like maybe you like ID 2 minerals, and then it'll be like rock A is made up of minerals 1 and 2.
Okay,
So you
so it
can,
wouldn't
like,
be
maybe
like,
backtrack.
what's this made up of?
Yeah, no, it'll probably be something more like this, where you can like really see
So
the
quartz and
difference.
case bar.
Quartz, case bar, and then muscovite, probably. But like, yeah, so that's almost even, that might be a surefire way to like double check that you ID'd minerals correctly, where it's like, okay, you have minerals I, K, and you have to ID them. And then, I'm paraphrasing, so I don't exactly remember.
So it'd be something obvious like this. You know,
Sure.
this is made up of olivine.
Prototype.
Peridotite's made up of.
Yep. I almost screwed up there. I've been talking about one stuff for too long.
Oh, but this is
Okay.
that was
Yeah,
a different.
but yeah, like the main thing is we're not trying to trick you. Like nothing is gonna be like we're not going out of our way, I think, to like
Make the
make
test
it
insane.
hard. Yeah, it's enough. You guys have enough material as is. Like I don't know. I think we did an okay job of picking a pretty like easy sample for diagnostic.
Because it's organic.
And I think really just harping on if you know which guys fit the acid, I think that'll go a long way.
I think it is that.
And I think it'll make your guys' lives a lot easier.
Oh, this is
Could you go over the cleavage plane once now?
So I'm just gonna go ahead and say that between now and the test, you're not gonna have like a magical understanding of cleavage planes. I think they're difficult and it's hard to see. So I think some of them it's almost easier just to kind of memorize. But this is a good sample for that actually. So cleavage, a lot of the times when we have something breaking along cleavage, we get kind of this big vitreous sheen, right? So these are all like the same. Just to illustrate, you don't really need to know this too bad, but like, I'll draw like calcite unit cell.
Layers of
What's
like chemical or yeah,
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is like the unit cell of blah blah blah, whatever. Basically, like the smallest part of the crystal. And do you see how like long like these bonds are? I didn't draw it really to scale, but basically it just breaks here because this is the weakest bond because it's really long. So it kind of has that sheen because all of the same like stuff is facing up. So shiny and flat basically. Nice flat surface there, nice flat surface here. So if you imagine a like infinite like paper plane like going straight through there, so that's one plane, and then our second plane is going straight through our other surface that's shiny, like that. So we kind of have this thing going on.
So 2 planes.
Exactly. And they're like at 90 degrees to each other. Like, this isn't a plane, right? Just looking at it. So yeah, 2 planes. These guys are the same deal. So we have 1, 2 basically, and like it's like 87 degrees, which like I can't do with my hands, but same thing basically.
So that one's just like
So
less
this is
than 90.
almost 90, but not quite.
Yeah,
90.
it's like
This
it's
one-
like 80, 87, and like 93 or something.
This
like
is
that.
90 though.
Yes.
But like for the test, we can just say like off 90.
Yeah, I don't.
Almost 90 degrees.
Sure. Either, yeah, it's cool. So this one we have 3, right? So we have 1 here, 1 here, and then 1 here. Does that make sense?
So the only difference is that one,
Kinda.
That one has 3,
I
right?
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that one
And this
doesn't
one
have
has
like,
this one has 2.
2.
And this one has
2.
But
because on this one it's
that
like
is-
not
Remember what I
shiny
talked
right
about
here.
with the crystal form? The structure? Alright, so this one has no cleavage. Because it breaks like this. It's like this dropped on the ground and broke like this. Or
like. So how do we know this is not wouldn't be?
so, well, this, I think for the purpose of the test, like, you guys, like, this is what quartz looks like. Kinda.
It's because it grows like that, it doesn't break.
Exactly, yeah.
But what if you don't have a sample? that
Right.
looks like
So the
that?
sample, like, I think for the most part, in the big pile of samples, you should be able to find one that looks like it broke somewhere, basically.
And what are these two?
Garnet hematite.
These 2 are the same.
I think just knowing that quartz has a conchoidal fracture and no cleavage, I think we'll probably go. Just say it has, yeah, like, yeah. I mean, that could be a distinguishing property too. I think quartz is just important enough that it's good to know.
Garnet the dodecahedron?
It is, yeah.
Cool. Okay. See that?
Should we? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no. It's just like, it's hard to identify that.
Yeah, I'm.
But, I mean, it does like break and mess up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I wouldn't spend a ton of time on. Yeah, I mean that one. Like, if you see like a little soccer ball looking thing, like you can call it garnet. I mean,
So what would be the distinguishing? characteristic?
dodecahedral prism faces.
So that's not
Crystal habit.
fracture.
No,
It's not like it has
it's
12
it's
planes.
crystal form. Yeah.
So some of them just remember some characteristics, pretty much.
Yeah.
Some are kind of.
I think the ones that are like more obvious and show up all the time in the labs are more useful to remember. So you know how we did quartz and calcite in the first mineral lab, but then those have persisted. Like we've been doing other stuff with calcite and quartz since then. Same thing with K-spar. Same thing with plagioclase. Same thing with olivine, micas. But like we haven't really talked about like pyrite a bunch since then, or you know, well hornblende, augite, or hornblende, yes, but like we're not going to do it because annoying. Do you know what I'm saying? Kind of. So like the guys to really like, if you're gonna like memorize stuff, are like the ones that keep like showing up, you know. So K-spar, Pladge. Honest, these guys.
You're saying throughout all the labs.
Right.
Okay. So for like, could you say a characteristic for this would be no cleavage?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. It
It's
is.
not broad enough. That's not too
Not
broad.
too broad. Well, if it like, if you have like at least 2 like features, that should like start to narrow you down, right? So like, let's
No, I'm saying like if you identify this is garnet.
Right,
You
yep.
say garnet and then you
say no cleavage and dodecahedral shape
Wait.
or whatever, or prism. Like then that's like you're narrowing it down at least. Where if you just say no cleavage, then like that didn't tell me anything. But if it's let's say we have garnet and then we have sphalerite, which also has the dodecahedral shape, but it has cleavage, and
Okay.
garnet doesn't. So it is like a diagnostic thing.
So you could do something broad and then something to narrow it down.
Sure, I mean it's whatever you used, honestly. So, and like realistically, it'll end up being something that you remember that actually helped your idea for the most part, other than like color for those two. But like color for all ends good. Like we have like a little jingle, right? So
What's the crystal structure of this called? Because like for
the way it fractures. Oh, this one.
The one that's dodecahedron. I was wondering if there's a name for
It's
this.
like a prism, basically. We just call it.
Prism crystal structure.
Yeah, don't say that.
Okay.
So you could say.
Well, it's like you'd have to get into like a couple other classes to begin to actually classify that.
Like, so how would we, if we identified it based on?
Just
this
use like
shape?
the 18 other tools that we use
Oh,
in
okay.
lab.
Yeah.
So like hardness, streak,
Mhm.
luster, all that stuff. Don't like get fixated on stuff that's
These two are not the same. Right? These
they're
are-
the same.
So olivine, you could say no cleavage and green.
Yep.
That would be.
Vitreous luster maybe would be good. It's the shiny. A lot of things are vitreous.
Did you bring labs 4 and 5 with you?
I have them upstairs. We can go grab them if you want. Cool.
Is this one the same as these?
What do you think?
I think so.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like it's
Yeah.
clear. It's got one cleavage plane, right? Okay. Cool.
Wait, can you